It is a scene that plays out in millions of homes every single evening. You walk up the stairs, carrying a folded stack of clean laundry. Or maybe you just want to see how their day went. You reach out, you take a deep breath, and you give a polite, gentle knock on your teenager's bedroom door. Before you can even open your mouth, you hear it. A heavy, deeply frustrated sigh from the other side, followed by a sharp, defensive response. "What? What do you want?" You open the door just a few inches, trying to keep your voice completely calm and pleasant. You say, "Nothing, honey. I just wanted to check on you and see if you wanted to talk for a minute." But your presence is immediately treated like a hostile invasion. They slam their laptop shut, push their phone face down onto the mattress, and glare at you like you just broke into a high-security vault. They snap at you to leave, claiming you are violating their privacy, and they don't relax their shoulders until you step backward and close the door again. You walk back down the hallway, feeling a mix of bubbling anger and deep rejection. You think, "I pay the mortgage on this house. I bought every piece of furniture in that room. I am not a spy. I am a parent who loves them. Why has my child turned their bedroom into a fortress? And why does my mere presence make them so incredibly defensive?" I remember working with a dad named Marcus a few months back. He told me his 14-year-old daughter had essentially established a sovereign nation inside their house. He said he walked by her room, saw the door cracked open about an inch, and knocked to ask if she wanted a slice of pizza. She literally jumped out of her chair, slammed the door in his face, and shouted that he was invading her territory. Marcus stood on the other side of that wood grain, feeling like an absolute ghost in his own hallway. He was furious, but more than that, he was just incredibly hurt. It feels like you've been demoted from a protector to a parole officer, and you have no idea what crime you supposedly committed. When we watch our kids retreat behind a closed door for hours on end, emerging only to grab snacks before darting right back inside, we usually make a massive, dangerous misinterpretation. We look at that closed door and we label it as secrecy, isolation, defiance, or absolute disrespect. We think that if they have nothing to hide, they shouldn't mind us walking in. We worry that they are back there doing something dangerous, vaping, watching things they shouldn't, or that they are actively cutting us out of their lives because they don't value our relationship anymore. This interpretation triggers a cycle of intense parental anxiety. We respond by trying to force our way in. We knock louder, we demand that they keep the door open, or we burst in unannounced under the guise of checking up on them. But if you look at the cognitive and emotional load your teenager is carrying, they are not hiding a dark secret, and they aren't trying to punish you. The closed door is not a sign of defiance. It is a desperate boundary. In their mind, their bedroom is not just a room. It is their ultimate recovery space. It is the only physical space on the planet where they do not have to perform, where they do not have to be graded, and where they can process the overwhelming stimulation of the outside world. When you walk in without a proper social invitation, your teenager does not see a loving parent. Their nervous system sees an intruder violating their only safe space. Think about how that feels from their perspective. They aren't trying to build a wall against you specifically. They are trying to build a filter against the entire world. When we treat that door as an act of rebellion, we make the home environment feel just as high pressure as the school hallway. The more we try to force our way across that threshold, the tighter they grip the doorknob on the other side. To understand how to actually get into their room, you first have to understand what that room represents to an adolescent nervous system. Think about what your teenager goes through from the moment they wake up. They spend 8 hours a day under constant social evaluation from hundreds of peers. They are tracking shifting friend groups, navigating digital group chats, and trying to avoid social public failure. On top of that, they are facing constant performance pressure from teachers, coaches, and school systems. Every single move they make is being analyzed, measured, and often recorded or screenshotted. By the time they walk through your front door at 4 p.m., their brain is completely fried. Their social battery is at absolute zero, and their stress hormones are through the roof. When they step inside their bedroom and close that door, they are finally pulling the emergency brake on the world. That room is the only space where they can let their guard down completely. They can lie on the floor, listen to music, stare at the ceiling, or play a video game without anyone evaluating their progress or tracking their performance. It is a psychological recovery zone. When a parent bursts into that recovery zone to ask about homework, grades, or chores, you are bringing the stress of the outside world directly into their sanctuary. Their defensive reaction isn't an attack on you. It is a survival instinct protecting their peace. Imagine working a high-stress corporate job where your boss watches your screen every second for 8 hours, and the moment you get into your car to turn on the radio, someone opens the passenger door and starts asking you about your taxes. You'd snap too. That's what a surprise knock feels like to a kid who has been performing all day. To get invited into that recovery space, you have to completely stop entering their room to check up on them and start entering exclusively to show up for them. Checking up means entering with an agenda, a chore, a question about school, or an underlying tone of suspicion. Showing up means entering with a low-stakes offer of value, with zero evaluation attached to your presence. This requires a major shift in how you talk to them. You want to offer a tangible comfort while throwing out a completely optional, pressure-free invitation to connect. Instead of knocking on the door and saying, "What are you doing in here all day?" You need to open your blinds and come join the family. You're isolating yourself. You change the narrative entirely. You knock, you wait for them to answer, and you don't even try to cross the threshold yet. You just stand in the frame and say, "Hey, I am headed out to the grocery store right now, and I wanted to see what your favorite snack is this week, so I can grab it for you." No pressure at all, but I'd love to see that art project or that video game you've been working on later tonight if you're up for showing me. Look at what that dialogue actually does. You offered value by asking about their favorite snack, showing that you are thinking of their comfort. Then you threw out a highly specific invitation to see a hobby they enjoy, but you explicitly added the phrase, "no pressure," if you're up for it. By giving them total autonomy to say no, you remove the threat. You show them that you respect their space. And, it basically removes the need for them to defend the border. When they realize that saying no won't start an argument, they suddenly have the breathing room to say yes. Why does this linguistic shift completely change their behavior? It comes down to the neurobiology of hypervigilance. When a teenager feels like their personal space is constantly under threat of being invaded, the emotional center of their brain stays in a low-grade state of fight or flight. They hear your footsteps approaching in the hallway, and their brain automatically anticipates a confrontation, or an evaluation. They brace themselves for a lecture, which is why their voice sounds so incredibly sharp and defensive the moment you knock. The sigh isn't hatred. It's a structural bracing for impact. But when you consistently change how you approach that door, you systematically reset that threat response. You teach their nervous system a completely new pattern. They learn that when you knock on the door, it doesn't mean an inspection is happening. It means a snack is being offered, a funny story is being shared, or a genuine, low-pressure interest is being shown. Once their brain realizes that your presence does not threaten the safety of their recovery zone, the baseline defensive armor drops. The heavy sighs disappear, and honestly, it completely breaks their need to lock you out. They start leaving the door cracked open because they no longer feel the biological necessity to defend the border. To make this strategy fully stick, you have to master what happens the moment they actually take the bait and invite you in to look at a game, a drawing, or a video they like. You must enter their room with absolute social humility. You are a guest in their space, and you must act like one. Do not walk in and immediately start scanning the floor for dirty laundry. Do not comment on the unmade bed, the empty cups on the nightstand, or the messy desk. The second you call out a chore during a moment of connection, you completely destroy the trust. You prove to their subconscious mind that your interest was just a trick to get inside and criticize them. When you cross that threshold, your eyes must lock entirely on the thing they are showing you. Put your own phone away. Sit on the edge of the unmade bed if they offer it. Ask curious, open-ended questions about their interests without shifting the conversation back to your own life or your own expectations. If you leave their room leaving the messy space completely unmentioned, you hit a massive home run. You show them that you value them far more than you value the neatness of their floor. And that is the exact realization that keeps the invitation open for tomorrow. It requires immense self-control to look at a half-eaten bag of chips and say nothing. But that silence is exactly what buys you your pass back into their world. It takes immense parental discipline to look at a closed door, restrain your own anxiety, and choose to treat your child's bedroom with the same respect you would show to a guest house. It requires you to understand that true connection cannot be forced through parental authority. It can only be invited through deep emotional safety. A teenager pulling away behind a closed door is a completely normal, healthy milestone of human development. They are learning how to regulate their own emotions and build an independent inner world. If they don't learn how to manage their own space and their own thoughts now, they will struggle to do it when they leave your house for good. Your job during this phase is not to kick the door down and force them to talk to you. Your job is to prove to them that whenever they are ready to open that door, they will find a parent who respects their boundaries, honors their sanctuary, and is ready to meet them with absolute, non-judgmental warmth. Stop checking up. Start showing up. Build a bridge out of respect, and watch how fast that closed door naturally opens up. Drop a comment below if you've been getting that sharp, defensive grunt every time you knock on your kid's door. Let me know what low-stakes value offer you're going to try out tonight to break that cycle. Whether it's a favorite snack or just a zero-pressure question. Let's talk about how to realign that entrance in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns on teen behavior and practical boundaries. In the next video, we're moving past the bedroom walls and looking at what happens when the primary source of your kid's emotional stress isn't happening inside the home at all? What if the real damage is being caused by a devastating silent fear that they are being pushed out of their friend group at school? How do you help a teenager who is completely spiraling over a sudden social snub or a missed invitation without overreacting or dismissing their pain? We're going to break down how to handle your teen's fear of being excluded. We'll look at why peer approval feels like actual survival to their brain, and how to coach your child through social rejection without shutting down communication. I'll see you there.